Hi everybody, welcome to the fifth module, which is on the theoretical foundations and counseling approaches with reference to Erickson's psychosocial theory. Hope the previous module on Piaget's theory had given you an understanding of its assumptions and beliefs and realized the grounded implications in the process of counseling with particular reference to school students. This module will explain the psychosocial theory postulated by Erickson and enlighten you on its influences in school counseling process. Erickson developed the psychosocial theory and is commonly known as stages of Erickson's psychosocial development, which has its base in Freud's psychosexual development theory. The module on Erickson's theory will be explained to you in 3 videos. The first one will educate you on the base and central theme of Erickson's psychosocial development theory. The second video will sketch out the 8 stages of the theory. And the third video will help you to comprehend the sequence of psychosocial crisis and identify the strategies adopted by school counselors to resolve it among the student population. At the end of this first video, you will be able to understand the base and central theme of Erickson's psychosocial development theory. The second objective is that it would explain the process of human development in terms of psychosocial development theory. Before articulating the theory of Erickson, we have to look into what his base assumptions are. Erickson realized certain ideas and facts of life of every human being as shown to you in the slide. The first fact is that every personality trait of a human being comes in opposites. And also some of these traits are learned and others are inborn. For example, optimistic or pessimistic, independent or dependent, aggressive or passive, and so on. The second fact is that the world gets bigger as the person goes along and as and when he or she is exposed to. The third fact is failure is cumulative. But what is it? To understand the cumulative nature of failure, answer these 2 questions with consideration to orphaned children. The first question is that, do the orphan children find it difficult to negotiate problems in their later stages when compared to children brought up in a caring and better environment? The second question is that, do you think the deficits or deprivation faced by the orphan children in their early stages could be overcome all of a sudden as if the human spirit gets ignited? If your answer for the first question is true and the second one is false, then of course you have got Erickson's philosophy of life right. According to Erickson, the process of human development encompasses 3 processes: somatic, psychic, and ethos. Somatic is nothing but the biological process of hierarchic organization of organ systems constituting a body. Psychic process is the process of organizing individual experiences by ego synthesis. And ethos. Ethos is otherwise called as a communal process, and it is the cultural organization of interdependence between people. Erickson's theory posits 8 consecutive stages of human development from infancy to late adulthood. Erickson views these stages as developing in a predetermined order, contributing to the development of the individual. From birth, all these innate stages blossom as per the natural biological process, or the individual psychic process and the communal process. Every stage presents new challenges, and the individual is expected to encounter these challenges and gain proficiency over them. Each stage acts as a building block to the next stage. When the challenges of any stage are not complete, then there will be a negative impact on the personality development of the person. However, advancing to the next stage does not compulsorily require the successful accomplishment of the previous stage, and the results are modifiable by the experiences that the individual has in the upcoming stages. Erickson postulated that the development involves 8 stages, as I already told you, which happens through the process of negotiation between his or her psychological forces, that is psycho, and the socio-cultural forces that is called the social forces. These two conflicting forces cause a psychosocial crisis in each stage. An individual acquires a healthy personality and basic virtue by successful resolution of the crisis of that particular stage. Basic virtue forms the essential foundational strength to the ego, supporting conflict resolution. If, on the other hand, an individual does not succeed in resolving the crisis, the individual develops an unhealthy personality. But let us understand now what are psychosocial crises. The psychosocial crisis means the challenge in which a person strives to strike a balance between psychological demands and social demands. The social environment within which one places these demands differ at each stage of development. For the individual, these demands are persistent expectations of behavior from the environment. The important developmental task of an individual is to meet the demands made by the environment to move to the next stage. So there arises a need for the individual to adapt these demands by converting them to personal terms. This process leads to a conflict within, and the individual needs to resolve this conflict to proceed to the next stage. Such a conflict state is referred to as the psychosocial crisis. The 8 crises in development are described by Erickson as polarities. Each stage highlights a possible outcome of crisis resolution within a defined virtue. Erickson has greatly impacted our perceptions of identity development. He has importantly provided the background that helps in understanding the development process of identity formation, and that the quest for identity is an important theme in anyone's life. According to Erickson, identity is defined as a subjective sense as well as an observable quality of personal sameness and continuity, paired with some belief in the sameness and continuity of some shared world image. As a quality of unself-conscious living, this can be gloriously obvious in a young person who has found himself as he has found his communality. The main question that anyone asks self in the entire lifespan is, who am I? And the answer differs at each stage. As the child goes through each stage, the question is taken up and resolved, leading to the confirmation of the identity. Successful resolution of these crises leads to the development of identity, individuality, self-confidence, and commitment, particularly in the areas of personal life and also in social life. Hope you understood the base of the psychosocial theory and its emphasis on identity. The next video will explain the stages of the psychosocial development. Thank you.